And are you going to edit this into the podcast? Because
I can. I did before, so.
Go, strap yourselves in, lock your S4s in attack position. We're going in full throttle. It's Trench Run, yet another Star Wars podcast for your listening pleasure. And now, from the forest moon of Endor, it's Kenny, along with the man whose midi-chlorians are off the chart. We got Brian. And now, straight from the swamps of Dagobah, it's your host, Nick LaPola.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to Trench Run, a place where three friends with varying degrees of Star Wars knowledge talk about a saga from a galaxy far, far away and a place a long time ago. As always, remember to check us out on Audio Boom, subscribe to your podcast feed of choice, whether it be iTunes, Audio Boom, Stitcher, or SoundCloud. Also, remember to email us at trenchrunpod@gmail.com. We are one man down today, but we are on our 40th episode, and joining me for that 40th episode is Brian. How you doing, Brian?
I am fantastic.
You were doing good. How was your? We missed a week, so we are 3 weeks behind from our last episode. So everything been going well.
Yeah, I think we can blame that on Kenny. We'll just blame it on him anyway because he's not here, and he would do the same thing.
Yeah,
to me.
exactly. We can't. We got to blame it on him now. So, and I can go for that.
I get to say whatever the hell I want about him this week.
That's right.
But I just may not do that.
Okay. So there's actually I was thinking it was gonna be a light news week, but we haven't talked for 3 weeks, so I was like, oh, okay, there's more news than I was thinking about. But you want to talk about this Timothy Zahn stuff that I sent an article about? I thought it was kind of interesting, but I didn't know. Have you even read the book yet?
Read it? No. Listened to it? Yes.
Or listen to it?
Yeah.
Is it any good?
It's okay.
That's becoming a new norm for Star Wars books, isn't it? It's like,
No,
it's okay.
I really like the Queen's Shadow, and I really liked Master and Apprentice. It wasn't bad, but I don't know. It's just, I guess I'm just not super into the new Thrawn trilogy as much as I like the first one.
Well, that first one's like a
classic.
Lightning in a bottle. Yeah, it's a classic, but it's like lightning in the bottle. It's like, how often can he do that? So,
well, I think the difference between that trilogy and this trilogy is this one is very Thrawn centric. He's like the main character, where he was not the main character in the other ones. He was a secondary character.
Yeah, he was just kind of like a Tarkin, right?
Yeah, he was like the main antagonist, but like in this, he's basically the protagonist, you know? And
yeah, he's a protagonist?
He's like the main character. He's like the guy.
He still can be in it.
He's not antagonizing. He's the main character. He's who you're rooting for, or supposed to be.
He's still a bad guy, right?
Well, he's an Imperial, but he's pretty much going against other Imperials. So
that's so weird. I don't know how to feel about that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's the difference between this. So I don't know. In the first one, you had Luke, Han, and Leia, fighting the Empire, and this you don't. You have the Empire, and it's basically the Empire. That's it.
And Thrawn comes into Rebels, right? Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Eventually.
This book actually takes place during Rebels. So
oh, does it? Okay.
So in Rebels, he goes away to do something, and it's basically this book, and then he comes back on Rebels, and it's mentioned in the book like he's going back to do this or whatever. So in that sense, and again, it was good. It was like I'm just not as into it as a lot of the other people are.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't read it. I don't even know where to begin on it. I kind of just go off what you say. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, I skip it. So I really haven't read much of anything.
I could tell you that it's good, and you skip it.
Yeah, that's true.
I even gave you access to listen to them for free, and you still don't listen to them.
I just wish I had more time.
You have a long drive to work, don't you?
Yeah, but I have a lot of podcasts to listen to. That's my problem. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Well,
more than you. I don't know how you handle all of it, but you said you have an hour-long drive back and forth. So
yeah, an hour each way. So 2 hours a day. So I mean, I listen to a lot of podcasts too, but when a new book comes out, I devote all of my time to the book, and then I let the podcast build up, and then I catch up with them later.
Orson Krennic is in these books?
Yes. He is.
And he's like
he is kind of the main antagonist.
He's like the Yang to his Yang or some crap like that.
He's the one that's basically like against Thrawn in this one. It's basically Thrawn's TIE Advanced project versus Krennic's Death Star project, Operation Stardust, and they're kind of fighting over who's going to get the money for each project. So Krennic makes a deal with Thrawn to help him do this task, but Krennic doesn't. He wants him to get the task done, but he wants him to not get it done in the time of the deal. Like he said, like Thrawn says he'll get it done in 2 weeks, or something like that, and Krennic wants him to get it done, but take longer than the 2 weeks so that he gets the money or whatever. So that's kind of what the gist of the book.
Krennic's like a really good character. I just didn't think about him being in a book with Thrawn. That's kind of a fascinating storytelling aspect, I guess. But yeah, I really want to go through the Thrawn books because, like I said, Thrawn's one of the best Star Wars characters in the history of Star Wars. But I gotta find time.
I like the first one in the series. The second one, it took me a long time to get through that one. Like and I haven't gone back and revisited it, but I'm not a big fan of the second one. The third one was back on par with the first one, but again, I've read better.
Is there gonna be another book, or is it just this is a trilogy?
I mean, it was a trilogy, but I wouldn't be surprised to see a fourth one. I mean, at some point it's got to be addressed what happens to him after Rebels.
Right. Well, don't spoil it.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
I actually don't know. I don't.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
In truth, we don't know if he's alive or dead, but I would speculate he's alive just because it's Thrawn.
Isn't that a problem with Rebels? Like, isn't Ahsoka, we're not sure if she's alive or dead in Rebels? I've heard that rumor going around or something like that.
Well, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, that's true. I should shut up.
I will say at the end of Rebels, it's not a loose end on Ahsoka. You'll know one way or the other.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll move on to the next story, I guess. Something that was actually reported today on August 9th from the Hashtag Show. So they're releasing new cover art boxes for the Blu-ray versions of the Star Wars trilogy and prequels and sequels and so on and so forth. Did you see these, Brian?
I did not. I don't know what you're referring to.
Oh, okay. They're just they're recovered reskins of the Blu-rays that they released a few years back. They're pretty cool. They look like old school covers and whatnot, and I like them. But the biggest part of that story is that they're talking about possibly a whole big box set after Rise of Skywalker, where it comes out, of all 9 movies in 4K.
Yeah, I heard that like a couple weeks ago about the 4K release.
Now there are Solo and Last Jedi, I believe, are already in 4K, but having the original trilogy, the prequels, Force Awakens, all those movies in 4K would be actually pretty awesome. I think it would make it. If they would go back and clean up some problems that the movies have, and
maybe, I don't know, maybe they could change around that Anakin ghost again, and at the end of Jedi that they seem to change every time they release a movie. Maybe they can change that again just for shits and giggles.
I don't know. I think it'd be cool to have them in 4K. A lot of people still want the original versions of the movie, which I think would be kind of cool, and it's going to happen eventually, but having movies in 4K, especially Star Wars, they can add in all the cool grain effects and stuff like that you came with old prints and the way movies were in film originally. But it could be fun to have a box set of it. It might be one of those I actually buy the physical version to just have it, as a cool collector's piece.
I mean, I like the idea of all the movies in 4K, definitely, but I would prefer them to not be in a giant box set that's going to cost $200 for 9 movies or whatever. I would rather buy them a movie at a time, if that makes sense. So you don't have to shell out a boatload of money. This
is going to be a late 2020, possibly holiday release when it comes out. They'll release, of course, Rise of Skywalker when that comes out by itself. There'll be a 4K version of that. But like I said, I was there the day the Blu-ray versions of the saga or Sega, whatever you want to call it, came out originally.
A saga.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually left work to go at midnight to go pick them up. But we'll see what happens.
That's the one with the desert box or whatever. It's Tatooine on it.
Yeah.
I ordered that on Amazon, so it just showed up on my door the day it came out.
Oh yeah. No, I was like, I went to Walmart. I'm like, where's the Star Wars Blu-ray set? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, it came out tonight. And they're like, okay, let me go find it. And that's exactly what they did. They went and found it, and they handed it to me, and they're like, here you go. Crap was expensive, too. It was like $90 when it came out or something like that.
That's what I'm saying. I would rather they just release the movies individually, that I can pick them up. So I can drop $20 here or $20 there, and not $150 right at the start.
Yeah, but that was a nice Blu-ray set, though. I really enjoyed that thing.
Had a lot of good documentaries and stuff on.
Yeah, and then they shadow dropped the digital versions, which was crazy. So,
what does that mean? What does that mean? They shadow dropped it.
Shadow dropping is basically they release it the day they announce it. So it's like a drop. They just shadow drop. They just it comes out of nowhere basically, and just they dropped it because nobody had heard anything about it, and then
really
it was pretty much they didn't really announce it until it was imminent release.
I remember seeing an article about it, it was coming out, and I was ready to buy it the day that it came out.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying it was okay. Maybe it wasn't the same day, but it was pretty close to.
You're saying that it wasn't months ahead of time like they do for everything.
Yeah, else. No, yeah, there had been a rumor they're gonna come out with digital versions of this movie of the Star Wars trilogy and whatnot, and it was there a couple days later. So in technicality, it wasn't a shadow drop, but it was still unexpected because I wasn't expecting digital versions of it. So
shadow drop,
assassin shadow drop. But anyways, so the scoring for Mandalorian has officially gone underway. It will, of course, appear day one on Disney Plus. There's a lot of stuff going around with Disney Plus right now where different Marvel movies will appear on there because some are still under contract, and there won't be as much content as people were hoping. It's the same thing with Star Wars. They're gonna release episodes 1 through 7, Rogue One, Rebels, and Clone Wars on the platform. But because Last Jedi and Solo are still under contract with Netflix, it's going to be a couple years before they release. But it's cool. We're kind of getting an idea of what's up.
I don't even feel like that it'll be a couple years. I mean,
no, it is. It's going to be 2022 or 2023 or something like that. It's the same thing with Friends and stuff like that. Everything's under contract for several years before they're going to show up on the actual platform.
But I mean, Rogue One, that came out in 2016. And it's 2019, and it's already off of Netflix, right?
Well, no, I'm just saying, yeah. I mean, it could be shorter than that, but I'm just saying, they still have at least a year or two more before they're gonna, be able to get it onto the service. It's the same thing with the Marvel movies. I think there's a few Marvel movies that are gonna be at least 2 or 3 years before they end up on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I'm still day one signing up for Disney Plus, and it'll be just like my WWE Network subscription that I'll just never drop it.
Well, no, are you going to do the ESPN, Hulu, Disney Plus deal where it's $13 a month or something like that?
It depends. I don't care about the ESPN. I don't need that at all, but
you already have Hulu, so it might still be a decent
deal. But
deal.
Only if it's Hulu commercial free. If it's not commercial free, I don't want it.
Yeah, those commercials kind of suck. I definitely agree with that. So
yeah, I mean, I pay extra for commercial free, and if I have to pay full price to be commercial free, I will do it.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be worth it. I mean, the one thing I'm excited for is to be able to pay for a year, so that I can do it and just be done with it, and not have to worry about it for a year before they start upcharging the price of it. When they raise the price after a year, like they're gonna do. So
yeah.
But on here, Jon Favreau put a IG-11 on Instagram, what he looks like, with the double bandoliers and the gun. So that's definitely a confirmation. It's not IG-88 like we thought. It's definitely IG-11, which is cool. I'm kind of curious how Taika Waititi is going to sound doing IG-11. I think it'll be pretty cool.
Probably nothing like Tiki Waikiki.
So I don't. Yeah.
It took over the airports. It did everything it had to do.
What the hell's that from?
It's talking about the Continental Army. taking over the airport back in 1776.
Trying to get us in trouble, aren't you? Shh, the government's listening to our 5 people podcast.
Was that our latest numbers? 5?
Yeah, probably. I haven't checked. I'm afraid to check. So anyways, so Disneyland Millennium Falcon, the ride got its 1 millionth person this week to ride it, or not? Was it this week? No, it was July 24th, so it's been a couple weeks. But they had their 1 millionth person officially ride the ride, and it was like a young kid or something like that. But that's crazy to think that like 1 million people have ridden that ride already, and I still haven't even gotten close to riding it, or will get close to riding it by the time Disney World gets their millionth.
Yeah, I was gonna say by the time
rider.
3 million people have ridden it. Okay, here's where I got annoyed with the article, that it's saying that they've had their 1 millionth pilot. It's not a millionth pilot. Every freaking person in there has a different job. There's only one pilot in the cockpit, so you can't count all 6 people or 8 people, whatever it is, as a pilot, because they're not pilots. Damn it! It's not the 1 millionth pilot. It's the 1 millionth rider. I know that. I know you didn't write the article.
Well, I mean,
so I'm not.
In essence, you're still piloting the ship, but
no, you're not. You're either engineering it, or you're co-piloting it, or you're, what are the other jobs? Gunners or something? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think there's like 2 gunners, 2 engineers, or some crap, a couple of pilots.
All I know is there's only 2 people that are actually steering the ship. So
yeah.
So even if you count the co-pilot, you still haven't had 1 million pilots. 1 million riders.
Right.
It's all good.
Yeah, I mean,
just stop saying pilot.
Let's just say 1 million people have ridden it. Was that better? We'll say 1 million people.
Well, I don't know why you're so defensive. I'm not arguing with you here. I'm arguing with whoever wrote the article or claimed that.
No,
1 millionth pilot.
I'm not arguing with you.
You seem defensive. Was it you that wrote the article? I mean, I didn't think so, because there weren't a lot of typos or misspellings. So.
Wow, you had to go there, didn't you?
I did. They used the right there.
How long have you known me? When was the last time I actually did a report for you?
It's been a while.
Yeah. But yeah, it's let's just say 1 million people have. I think that's what they're getting at. 1 million people have ridden the ride, which is an average of 24,000 people per day riding that ride. So.
Oh my!
Exactly. It just shows you that Star Wars still is pretty big and pretty popular. But that leads me to my other story about Disney. This was reported on August 6th. I got it from Bloomberg, but it says Disney falls most since 2015 as Star Wars stumble slams results. Basically, what it's saying is the Disney stock actually tumbled lower than expectations on people going to their park to go to Galaxy's Edge. So basically, everything you guys have been talking about for, I don't know, a few weeks now, is pretty much true, that there's not been as big of an attendance. People are afraid to go because of the overcrowding that they were worried about, and overhyping the ride and the theme park backfired on Disney. So,
well,
yeah.
I don't even think Disney overhyped it, because they haven't advertised or anything. It's pretty much just been like the press and everything like that. Because I mean, Disney claimed from the start that they didn't need to advertise this. And granted, now from what I've seen, they're actually starting to advertise it, like put billboards up and all that stuff. I mean, you lived in Orlando, so you saw like all the billboards that were around and stuff. I guess they hadn't really done any of that for Galaxy's Edge, but now they're starting to. But where I am bothered by this article is that if you look into the numbers, it's not all Star Wars that killed Disney in this quarterly earnings thing. I mean, it played into it a little bit, but it's not just Galaxy's Edge that's not getting like people to go to the parks. It's the park itself is down in attendance. They raised the prices. They said that like the local hotels raised all their prices. So I mean, people are just, they don't want to spend the money to go to Disney. They just expected, I guess, people to pay whatever to go to Galaxy's Edge, and they aren't doing it. So I mean, Disneyland itself is full of people. Like, that's empty too. So it is what it is. I mean, it's theme park in general that's down. It's not just Galaxy's Edge.
Well, the other problem that they're finding themselves into is they rushed to open the park. They didn't have both rides available. People don't want to go and ride just the one ride. If people know there's another ride coming, why pay all this money unless you're a pass holder and go to a thing that's half built? It's like when, Animal Kingdom opened or Universal Islands of Adventure opened. Rides were half full. I mean, a lot of the rides weren't open yet. And it's like, what's the point in going? Go 4 months later in December or 5 months later, like I'm going to try and do in January, and just wait for both rides to be open and find out, they get all the kinks out and all the bugs and issues and problems taken care of. And I'll be able to go ride the Ride of Resistance and a Millennium Falcon and drink whatever garbage blue milk that I've been hearing is pretty terrible. So,
I mean, I've heard some of the other drinks are pretty good. I don't know that I'd want to try a blue milk, but.
Well, I mean, I would like to try it because I tried the Flaming
Mo.
Flaming Homer, Flaming Mo, and that was like the worst drink I ever paid like $15 for. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I've heard some of the other drinks are pretty tasty. So yeah, no, like I said, a lot of the problems is Bob Iger definitely overhyped it. He scared people off because he's like, oh, well, this is gonna be the biggest thing ever, and then they started doing the whole ticketing system for Disneyland. But I'm telling you, Disney World is probably going to have a better attendance just because it's Disney World. But still, what's the point in us who live 4 hours away to go? And why don't we just wait till it actually opens?
I totally agree.
January.
I totally agree. Like, I don't want to go. I mean, if I had free tickets to go right now, sure, I'd go. But I'm not going to go and pay to go to a park that's only half done.
Like I said, I'd be right there with you. If anybody Disney friends want to give me free passes to Disney, I'll go August 30th when it opens, when there's like 85 million people there waiting in line 3 days before it opens, But
yeah, all 17 of our listeners might be there.
Yeah, exactly. 4 of us or 3 of us will be. One of us won't be, but the 2 other ones that are.
Yeah, the one who's in Orlando right now.
Exactly. He would never go. We got to convince Kenny to go. Kenny, if you're listening, I'm sure you are, you should go. Tell us what it's like. Just stay up in Orlando for the next month and wait in line for a week and tell us what it's like.
You just don't want him to come back is what it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, the missed targets on Fox movies that didn't do very well.
Yeah, that was
Disney inherited.
That was another thing. The X-Men movie. Come on. It's not all Star Wars.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying it still is Star Wars Land and Disneyland. I'm telling you, a lot of people didn't go because of that, but it's a local park. It's not an international park like Walt Disney World is. So I knew the attendance was not going to be as big as Disney World's going to be, but that's here or there. So
another big issue that I keep reading about is merchandise sales for Star Wars is way down. But I mean, I know you're not much of a collector, like an action figure collector or whatever, but I'm telling you, this has been a bad year for. There's nothing out there. They're really not releasing anything. So, with that being the case, of course the merchandise sales are going to be down. There's nothing to buy. You go to a Walmart or a Target right now and look at the toy aisle and tell me, the last Walmart I was at, I think there might have been 3 lightsabers hanging on the hook and maybe some Black Series figures that have been around for a year. But that's about it.
Yeah.
There's no vintage collection. They finally clearanced out that first wave, that toxic first wave that I'll keep complaining about on our shows. That Snoke, Rey, Kylo Ren, Jyn Erso line that they came out with for the first wave, and it just hung on the pegs for the last 2 years basically. They finally clearanced them out last week. So now there's basically a month and a half away from Triple Force Friday and all the new releases. So hopefully we'll get.
Is it really that close?
October 4th.
Oh, so, yeah, they're not doing it in September this year, are they?
No, they
have been.
Yeah, I think they changed it up for back at Rogue One. They made it closer to the release date of the movie.
Oh, okay.
I think Force Awakens they did in September, and then after that they moved it later.
It makes me wonder if they're gonna. I wonder which. I've been looking at the schedule for Monday Night Football, and I'm curious of which game they're gonna release the Rise of Skywalker tickets on.
I don't know, but it'll probably be on a Monday night.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, of course, yeah, it's always Monday because it's going to be. They're going to get the big
it,
rumors like the week
was
before. It'll be like
it was a joke, Nick.
no, I understand that. I'm just saying. Oh man, it's funny though. Thank you for pointing that out to me.
Yes, I try.
Well, no, there's gonna be like all these rumors about the new trailer, and it's gonna be like, oh, it's gonna release on Monday during a bowl or during the Monday Night Football game, and as Brian pointed out, because I'm retarded, it's a Monday.
It'll be on a Monday. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah. So the next story, and we're getting into some episode 9 stuff, so it might be a little spoiler. So skip ahead if you want. What do you did you see the picture of what the Emperor's new ship in episode 9 will look like based off of the board game?
Okay, so here's my question: is this board game already out? Are the ships already out, or is this a leaked episode 9 game piece? That's what I want to know. If it's already out, then I don't believe it. If it's like leaked, like the Lego figures that have been leaked over the last couple of weeks, then I would say there's some truth to it. But I mean, I did read.
Well, it says
I did read the Making Star Wars article. Saying that there should be some the Sith ships that are out there with the Sith troopers and all that shit. They should have like Death Star lasers and shit like that on it. So.
Yeah, no, this is a leak from Reddit. So a lot of times Reddit will have, some legitimate leaks, sometimes not, whatever. But the Onager Star Destroyer is going to be on, of course, the Star Wars Armada tabletop game. It also features another ship called the New Republic Starhawk. I just thought it was interesting. It's an interesting looking ship. If it's true, it looks like a ramming ship or something. It's really, really weird looking. It has like a T shape with a
hammerhead
down the middle.
Like a hammerhead Corvette.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looks like now that you say that.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends on where the leak came from. If it's leaked product for episode 9, then yeah, I believe it. If it's just this game piece looks like it could be, then it is what it is. I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's pictures of it. I don't know if it was for a con or something like that. There are like real pictures.
Yeah, no, I saw
there's one
them.
called.
That's what I'm saying. I believe it's a real game piece for the game. I don't know if it's something that's already out because I don't play the game. I don't collect the game, so I don't know anything about it. So I don't know if it's something that's coming out and they leaked pictures of it, or if it's something that's already out. So
no, I don't know. It doesn't really say in the article, but like I said, even if it's not, they're still really cool looking ships. Especially the Onager class Star Destroyer, I think is really cool looking. The Hammerhead, but yeah, I mean, there's not really much more else to talk about on it. But like I said, it's just part of the Armada Star Wars tabletop game. Which have you played that at all, or have you know anybody that played it?
I've never been a tabletop gamer or role-playing game person. I collected the miniatures like years ago, back in the day when.
Did you paint?
No, the ones they came out. I think it was Wizards of the Coast came out with one like back in the prequel trilogy era. They had like painted miniatures, and I was collecting those. I don't have them anymore, but at the time I was collecting them. They were cool because they were painted.
Was that during the big purge?
It was when I got rid of everything.
Yeah.
Now I've rebuilt the collection pretty well though.
It was a dark day for the Brian Carpenter Republic.
Yeah, it was. I think I have more now than I did before, as far as figures go. Definitely more vintage figures. The vintage figures have come a long way. I think I'm up to maybe like 18 more or something. I need.
Okay.
So I just got Princess Leia as Bouche today, as a matter of fact.
Oh yeah,
it came in the mail.
That's Return of the Jedi, right? Yep. Now, have you completed your Empire collection?
I still haven't gotten the R2 with sensor scope yet.
Oh yeah. You actually sent us a picture today. What was it was of
It was I won't name the I won't name the store, but there was a store that had a listing for a it was a vintage Sandperson figure, but it called it a Tuskegee a Tuskegee Raider.
Okay. So, was there any other toys that you bought though? Anything else new?
Well, I got a Bantha with a Tuskegee Raider from the Power of the Force line.
I actually haven't seen that one. Oh, that's cool.
I will be unboxing that one though.
Why is it damaged?
Yeah, it's not. I mean, normally when I see that, they're usually like $75, $80 or whatever. So, but I got that for like way less than that. And
oh yeah,
and yeah, and I need the figure that's on it to go in my Power of the Force line. It's one of the ones I'm missing. So I gotta.
Is it like exclusive to that set?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I needed to get that figure. So I was like, okay, and I'll get a Bantha. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
A furry.
Yeah.
Bantha, nonetheless.
You could put it right next to your Jawa machine. What is that thing called? I can never remember the name of the Jawa transport vehicle.
Sandcrawler.
Is that what it's called?
Sandcrawler.
The Sandcrawler. Thank you. Just put it right next to the Sandcrawler.
But it's a Lego Sandcrawler. It doesn't mix with a Kenner.
Oh my
a
god,
Kenner Bantha.
it's terrible. Pretend. Think of it like the Lego movie.
Yeah, but that was all Legos.
Yeah, but there were still other figures in there. I mean,
Well,
did you not see the second one?
I did, but I'm okay with Lego figures mixing. I'm just not okay with Lego figures mixing with like G.I. Joe or He-Man or Star Wars. It's gotta be. You can't mix toys that aren't to scale. That's my issue.
Maybe I'm just like you said. You grew up way different than I did. I was playing with like Mask figures with Ghostbuster figures, and I had put my Mask figures in the Ghostbuster house. The firehouse, and they had little parties, and it was an interesting time. That's what happens when you grow up with no friends.
See, Mask. I liked Mask, but you couldn't even mix those with G.I. Joe at the time because the figures weren't even like the same size. Like Mask figures were smaller than G.I. Joe's, slightly.
Well, the funny thing about just any general figure, they were always like somewhat difficult to put into the vehicle itself. It didn't matter if, like, let's say you have the G.I. Joe figures and you have like a vehicle from G.I. Joe. Did you ever notice how hard it was to put them inside the vehicle a lot of times?
No, never.
You never, like, the Mask figures, like, you put them into like the car that flies.
But
it always, like, you had to like bend everything and just to get it in there. It was really.
But that was the thing too. Like G.I. Joe's, you could bend the knees and the elbows. But Mask figures, I'm pretty sure was just a 5 POA, like shoulders and hips. I don't think the knees and the elbows bent. But I only had two Mask things. The little green helicopter motorcycle and the bad guy's blue jet helicopter.
Oh, really?
Yeah, those are the only two Mask things I had.
Is it sad that I actually preferred Mask over like Transformers and
yes, that's very sad.
G.I. Joe?
Yeah, that's very sad.
I don't know why that is, but I like that idea of they're in a gas station, it's inside of a mountain, and they just fly. I don't know. It's really weird, but I enjoyed that, like that and Ghostbusters. But I don't know. I like that a lot more than.
Did you see the WWE Ghostbusters crossover figures that are coming out?
Yeah, I think you sent it to us. Sent it to me and Kenny, the picture.
Oh, because I know we had talked on the last episode about the Masters of the WWE universe.
Yeah. Oh, those are the ones you sent. No, I guess I didn't see the.
Yeah, so
the WWE.
So they're coming out with like four wrestlers as Ghostbusters. I think it's like Austin, Cena, Rock, and I don't know, one other one. And then the Undertaker is like a ghost, so he's like clear purple plastic.
I would say the Undertaker's not like Slimer or something like that.
He comes with like a Slimer green belt.
Actually, did you say Kevin Owens is one of the figures? Or one of the Ghostbusters?
I don't think so. No,
he would be
Cena, Austin, Rock, and one more, but I don't remember who.
Kevin Owens would be perfect as Slimer. And then you could have Big Show as Stay Puft Marshmallow Man or something like that.
Yeah, there you go. It's a good crossover stuff.
Yeah. Okay,
wait,
so...
Hang on.
Yeah.
Worst crossover ever.
I just spotted that one. I'm like, I got to hit that one.
Should have hit it during the beginning when we started talking about Ghostbuster and whatnot. So, okay. So moving on. Making Star Wars, during one of the podcasts I was listening to, they talked about Zori and about how she is actually a good guy. Did you hear about this at all? Zori that Kerry Russell's playing, the one in the purple jump outfit, because they weren't really sure who her character was, but the possibility of her just being a protagonist more than an antagonist
we're killing it with the protagonist antagonist talk tonight.
I know, right? That's what we should call it, protagonist antagonist talk. What do you do you have any concept of like, do you like her character, what you've seen so far, or?
Well, I haven't really seen anything other than what I've read, and I think the stuff like the spoiler stuff I read, I try not to retain that information too much, so that when I go to see the movie, I only have like, I don't know. Oh yeah, that's right. I did read that somewhere, kind of thing. Like I try to store that in my memory too much.
Right.
But I mean, I read it.
Yeah,
I remember seeing something like people are saying that her ship looks like the ship that dropped off. And I remember saying, because I guess her ship is that one that's in the trailer, and I remember saying way back when, like, that ship like everybody was saying it was an A-wing, but to me it looked like the ship that dropped off Rey on Jakku and flew away. And now everything I'm reading says that that's Zori's ship. So then everybody's linking that to, oh, she's the one that dropped off Rey or whatever. So there's a connection there and blah, blah, blah. So I guess I did retain some of that.
Yeah, I did like some of the stuff they were talking about, how they went on to talk about how Zori could possibly be a protector of Rey, somebody that, you know, has to deal with her past. But the thing I found out that I didn't realize is the planet that you see, the ship that looks like Rey's, the ship that dropped off Rey, that's the ice planet, and apparently it's called Kajimi, something like that nature. Have you heard about this? That it's not a snow planet, it's an actual ice planet, which is a really cool thing that they're actually changing. I'm glad that they're giving something else outside of a snow planet.
So yeah, so I don't know. I didn't really read anything about the ice planet, snow planet, Hoth 2.0. I wonder if we'll ever get a planet that is has like multiple ecosystems and not just a like a whole planet of desert and a whole planet of water and a whole planet of forest.
Do you think that George Lucas did that either because he just wanted to have simple planets, or do you think he did that because it was the easiest way to go? Or it just seems like he's like, you know what would be cool? A whole sand planet, a whole snow planet, a whole water planet, you know? It just, I don't know if he was trying to make it easier for everyone to understand the planets, or because he didn't want to go into ecosystems, or, I mean, what do you think?
I never really thought about it. I just always wondered if there's a planet in the Star Wars universe that is like our planet with multiple ecosystems.
I mean, there could be, possibly, but I was always curious, and that's actually an interesting idea of if George Lucas just wanted to keep it simple instead of doing multiple ecosystems, like you said. I mean, Dagobah's kind of like a multiple ecosystem, isn't it? There's water and...
It's a swamp. It's a swamp planet.
Is the whole thing entirely swamp, though?
Well, I mean, and that was going to be my next point. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure Tatooine is all desert, but I mean, we only saw Hoth, like one specific spot. So I mean, I don't know. I everything I've ever seen or read says it's a snow planet, so it's probably not a warm area on the planet. Dagobah, everything I've read is it's all swamp. Like, I don't know. Like, but I mean, Endor, is it all forest? I mean, it's called the Forest Moon of Endor, so I'm assuming yes, but I don't know. Maybe the poles are cold and frozen. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. That's an interesting thing to bring up, though, because I mean, it could be something for the future they could talk about.
Is it interesting?
I think it's interesting.
I feel like we're boring people right now.
So anyways, so the next news topic I have is they're basically talking about rocket troopers being one of the new troopers in Rise of Skywalker. You can kind of see shots of the troopers themselves. Have these been introduced before? Because I see like a picture, like a comic book picture in the article. Is it something that you have seen in books or anything like that? You know?
I read the same article and I saw the picture you're talking about and I saw what comic book it was in, but I can't remember. If I saw it in a comic, it didn't really register like as anything significant, and I don't remember what. I think it said it was the Poe Dameron comic, but I don't remember.
I think they're cool. I think it's gonna be kind of cool if they're being used in whatever battle chase sequence Poe, Finn, and C-3PO are involved with. I think it could make for some like really cool action sequences, because you see shots of them in the trailer apparently, but you don't really see what they're doing. But the fact they're flying around, you know, it's kind of like Boba Fett in a way in his, you know, rocket pack. But I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I think it could be a fun way to improve upon stormtroopers and First Order troopers, and give them a little bit of interesting verticality and stuff like that. So,
did you just say verticality? Is that a word?
Yeah, yeah, it is verticality when they're flying high in the air and stuff like that. So.
They're flying vertically.
Well, the verticality, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about. I'm just asking if it's an actual word. If it is.
Yeah, verticality is it's a word.
Verticality.
Come on, you're supposed to be the smart one here, Brian.
I am the smart one.
Almost as stupid as a stupid does.
Yes, I'm looking it up. Well, it's on dictionary.com, so I'll give you that. But yeah, I've never used or heard verticality used. But you learn something new every day.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, it would give them a new way of being in a battle instead of out on the ground or on a bike or something like that. It gives them like more mobility and more freedom to, go around the different scenarios and stuff like that. So I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, you don't see, flying troopers a lot, especially in Star Wars. You see them walking around or running or on speeder bikes or something like that. So, but I don't know.
I don't know. I think it will be something that.
It'd be a cool action figure to have.
Well, that's kind of what I was gonna say. Is it's there for its toyetic value, and hopefully we'll sell some action figures.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna be in that one scene, and you'll probably never see them again. So
yeah, pretty much. So we'll see. I don't know. I will. I'll see what happens when I see the movie. We're getting close at this point. I mean, it's August, and we're 4 months away now. A little over 4 months.
Yeah, it comes out like right before Christmas. So yeah, about 4 months. Can't wait indeed. Okay, so here's an article. I don't know, this is the one you were talking about that you were going to kind of refute, but this is from Esquire, and it says, Star Wars fans think this line from A New Hope is proof Kylo Ren will turn good. And it is the line, he has too much of his father in him, and that's the same, they're kind of saying... It's very similar to something in the sequel trilogy where there's a possibility of Kylo Ren he's gonna be redeemed at the end of Rise of Skywalker. Did you read the article at all?
I couldn't make it through it. I read it a couple days ago, and then you sent it to me again, and I started to look at it. I'm like, I can't read this again. It's all a lot of simple tricks and nonsense.
Like, do you just not agree with it, or I mean?
It's just.
What do you think?
It's just another dumb fan theory. Which, like, come on, people, just watch the freaking movie. Like, is he gonna get redeemed? I don't know. It's Star Wars, probably. Do I want him to? I don't know. If they do it right, I guess. But it has nothing to do with any line from a movie that was written 40 years ago. Like, they're not getting that in depth on. Kylo Ren is not a freaking double agent from the New Republic infiltrating the First Order.
Well, I would never say I would go there.
But that's what the article said.
No, I understand. I was talking about the whole idea of this Kylo Ren possibly being redeemed from.
I think, like, for those who haven't read the article, I think we should actually say what the line was, and that was something like he's got too much of his father in him, and then Owen says, "Yes, that's what I'm afraid of." That whole scene. That's what they're saying is referring to Kylo Ren getting redeemed. That's the line that they're taking and saying, "Oh, that's the line that." Yeah, come on, people, get a life.
Well, come on. I mean, people have their ideas and thoughts.
We have here, yeah, couple of nerds.
Yeah, couple of nerds writing articles. Making up nonsense.
Hey, that's what life is. That's what nerdum culture is, making up theories and nonsense.
Well, it's only nonsense if I don't agree with it.
Is that right?
Yes.
But no, like I said, there's been a lot of stuff and a lot of rumors going around about just how the Knights of Ren are going to be effective and how they come from a space beyond. And how Kylo Ren is not going to agree with a lot of stuff that the First Order is doing. And how Palpatine is being involved and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Like you said, Kylo Ren could be a Force ghost. And they could be celebrating on Kashyyyk or fucking Dagobah again. Or the Force moved him indoor. You can see like Kylo Ren's ghost right next to Anakin Skywalker or something like that. So I don't know. I just think that I thought it was kind of an interesting article. I mean, yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense, no, but the line kind of fits into that Han Solo was a good guy and Kylo Ren's a conflicted character. So I mean, I don't know.
So part of his double agent status is to kill his father.
I'm not saying that.
Come on now.
I mean,
come on, people.
There was a rumor that what did we see a flashback where Han Solo actually stabbed himself or pressed the igniter on the lightsaber? This really bothers you, doesn't it?
It just does. Like, people just wait for the movie because you're going to come up with all these stupid fan theories, and then when it doesn't pan out, everybody's going to be pissed and talk about how JJ ruined their childhood.
Well, I mean, they've already done that with Rian Johnson and Benioff and Weiss and Carlton Cuse and Damon Lindelof, and it's never the problem with this series. Like any other series, is not going to end like people wanted to. People want a specific ending. They wanted Luke Skywalker to go off into the sunset and have his own fucking...
He faded away at the sunset.
Well, they want him to live. Like you can't move on past the past, and that's what the biggest problem is that everybody has is, oh, Luke Skywalker is a tragic figure and blah blah blah, and that's not my Luke Skywalker. It's like, one, it's a movie, and two, it's like you gotta let these people finish their story first. If it doesn't play out, that's fine, and you don't ever have to watch it again. But the people are so entitled to have it the way they want. It's like you can't have it the way you want. It's not your story. It's the story of J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson, and I don't know. I know we're getting back into the whole fan complaint thing, but it still bothers me that people. I still see comments and still see like idiot people online complaining about Last Jedi that was like almost 2 years ago. I'm like,
I won't go so far as to call them idiots for complaining about it. Like, if they didn't like it, they didn't like it. But it's just
But they're still talking about it like it's ruined their life.
I just think,
like, how does this stuff ruin their life? It's just like,
I just think
we're dealing with.
I think it's funny that like they're so passionate about their hatred for the movie. But I mean,
I know,
like, there's stuff I didn't like in it, but I don't know. I don't hate the movie. Like, it was okay. Like, it's the whole. I just think people need to stop building up their expectations or like coming up with their own fan fiction in their head that when it doesn't happen in the movie, then they're just going to be disappointed. Just like, I don't know, just go watch the movie and don't go in there with preconceived notions of what's going to happen. Just go watch the movie and enjoy it. Is it that hard? I guess it is.
Yeah, it really is. Like I said, everybody has a voice now, and everybody uses that voice to bitch about stuff that they don't like. We still kind of do that with like talking about Clone Wars. If we don't like an episode, we kind of bitch about it, but we don't like disown the whole entire series if we don't like a specific episode.
Well, I also think we're characters here, and we kind of like play it up a little bit too.
But no, like it legitimately, like, this is why like I don't listen to people when they talk about certain things anymore, because it's just not worth my effort in trying to you know, what's that word called? Shit, I just lost my train of thought. Trying to give me a second, I'll remember it.
You're so stupid!
Yeah, somewhere.
30 years.
Oh, I got it. Trying to defend the thing that I'm passionate about is not worth my effort anymore.
Well, I mean,
I can't believe I forgot that.
You don't really need to defend it. Like, it is what it is. You like it, you like it. If you don't, then you don't have to like it. Just, I don't know. Just don't try to make everybody else hate it. And like, if they like it, just let them have their opinion. It's not that hard, people. Can't we all just get along?
Opinion is wrong. Why don't you have one of those clips in your soundboard? Can't we all just get along?
I am serious. Like,
or
Will
somebody please think of the children?
I seriously think of this stuff all the time, and like I'm driving along, I'm like, oh, I need to get that for the soundboard, and then like 2 seconds later, it's gone.
Yeah, it's gone. Oh man, but you know, we'll see what happens. I'm sure Kylo Ren will be in the movie. I'm sure he'll do something that will surprise us and upset us. I'm sure Luke Skywalker will find his way to Dagobah or something, which we will talk about in our Clone Wars finale episodes. But let's just put it at that. We'll just wait and see what happens. So, Okay, so another article. I'm getting all this from StarWarsNews.net.
Yeah,
They have a
I
really
noticed
good-
all of your news came from Star Wars Newsnet.
Well, the one thing I found about StarWarsNews.net
I think it's
is
Star Wars Newsnet.
everything.
.com.
Oh, whatever. Star Wars Newsnet. Sorry, Star Wars Newsnet. I apologize. Is they combine a lot of articles from different people and put it into a database where it's easy to find stuff. So I give them a lot of credit because they're not like certain websites I know you hate where they are putting pieces out there that just kind of for clickbait. These are actual articles.
Yeah,
that I
no,
can
no.
go off
I've
of.
been like Star Wars Newsnet is on my daily list of sites I check. I've been checking that
Yeah.
since it was called like Star Wars 7 News or something. Like,
Oh, is that what that's what it used to be called?
yeah, like back in the day.
Oh my god, I remember reading that. Yeah.
And then it switched to Star Wars Newsnet. But yeah, I've been reading
Yeah.
that since like Force Awakens rumors.
Okay.
And I mean they'll put stuff out there and like they'll say like, okay, this is just a rumor that's out there. It's
Yeah.
they're not like trying to sell it as this is what's going to happen like some people out there.
Did you ever go to, I think it was like Shadow Force or something like that, or it was Shadow something, but they would always post like fake rumors that people took as gospel, and then they had what was like plot descriptions for like episode 7, 8, 9, and 1, 2, and 3, and it was like the most outlandish plots I've ever seen in my entire life. It's called Super Shadow. Do you remember this site at all?
No, were they like serious or were they just like putting it out there as a joke and people were like thinking it was real?
I thought it was a joke, but maybe it was serious. I mean, it was like in-depth stuff. There was some wild stuff going on in those articles about like the different plot descriptions. I don't know. I don't think their sites ever. I think their sites are no longer available. But
I remember like leading up to The Force Awakens, there was a big rumor, which turned out to be just ridiculous. Which I read it, and just like this Kylo Ren one, I thought, okay, this is stupid. But they were saying like that Luke was going to be the main bad guy of the sequel trilogy, and he had turned to the dark side, and
yeah.
I'm sure you probably remember that too. But it's like,
yeah.
like, come on, people. But
okay. So I'm on Wikipedia. It says, I'm Mickey Suddy, whatever his name is. I'm extremely sorry and very much apologize for the lies I told on supershadow.com for nearly 20 years. I am extremely sorry and apologize to those that I offended. I am very, very sorry. So yeah, like, I mean, they posted a lot of garbage, but the stuff has always made me laugh because, you read it and you're like, oh, this sounds cool. No, it really wasn't. So, but anyways, back to actual news. There's been a lot of new information about who Giancarlo Esposito is playing. You know him from Breaking Bad for playing Gus Fring.
he was one of the first people that I was excited for when they announced it for The Mandalorian. Like I think he's a fantastic actor. He was great in Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul.
Yeah, I haven't seen Better Call Saul, but I heard he was
What
in
the
it,
hell are
so
you waiting for?
I don't have AMC. I don't have any way of watching it.
They don't have AMC in your household?
I have internet, but I don't have cable.
For the love of God.
Cable's too expensive.
You don't need cable. You just need some kind of streaming TV.
I don't know. I have too much to do on my life, but I need to eventually
Your
watch it.
whole
It'll show up
life
on
revolves
Netflix, I'm
around
sure.
watching TV and movies. Like, how do you not have something?
Yeah,
where
but
you can watch?
there's a limit.
And don't you have Netflix?
I do have
I'm
Netflix.
pretty
Is
sure
it on Netflix?
Better Call Saul is on Netflix.
Oh, well, maybe I'll have to watch it one of these days. I watched I think I watched half the first season, and I remember Michael McKean was in this series, but I just haven't gone back to. There's a lot of series I'll start watching and turn it off and never really go back to.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
I
how I
have
am.
some of those too.
And the worst thing for me is season 2 of any TV series. I will watch a season 2. I'll start watching the first season I'll get into, and then season 2 rolls around and it's almost impossible for me to get through. And then season 3 rolls around, Stranger Things. Stranger Things season 2 took me 2 years to get through because I just wasn't committed to watching it, and then I finally watched it, and then barreled through season 3. So I don't know what it is about season 2 of TV series.
Stranger Things, I have not been able to I don't know. It hasn't grabbed me. I've made it through season 1 just recently, but I'll watch an episode of that maybe once every couple months. Like I don't know. It just doesn't do it for me. I think the only thing that even keeps me remotely interested is the fact that it takes place in the 80s and it looks cool. But
well, especially season 3. Season 3 like really delves into like what the 80s fashion was, which I really liked. But so back to Gus Fring or Giancarlo Esposito. Basically, they asked him about his character in The Mandalorian, and he was quoted as saying, "This is from Slash Film. In a way, you might call him an underworld character." Esposito said, "You may also look at him as a savior, as someone who might bring back some order to the world after it has collapsed." So he's basically like a middle of the road type of character where he kind of does bad things but saves people in the process, or he's almost like a Hondo in a way if you think about it. That sounds like a little bit what Hondo was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that was much of a spoiler there. I'm pretty sure most of the characters in The Mandalorian are going to be middle of the road.
Well, no, but I'm just saying like...
No, but I mean, like, I read the article, and that was kind of what I thought. Like, okay, let me put on my surprise face. He's like a guy on the fringe who's not good and not totally bad, and he's in that gray area. Pretty much, yeah. I think that's pretty much going to describe most of the characters in The Mandalorian. So, But I mean, I will say, like, I'm more excited for The Mandalorian than I am for The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like we said, if that's going to be a release day one of all episodes, or they're going to do week by week.
I kind of hope they do it week by week, just to have something to look forward to every week. Otherwise, I'll binge watch it in a weekend, and then I'll be done with it.
You could do it. You could do what I do and just wait and review each episode. You know, as we do our podcast.
I can't do that. If it's there at my fingertips, I have to do it.
Oh man, that's gonna be rough. I don't know if they. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to watch it all at once. If we're doing it that way.
Well, I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying I won't be able. I can't wait. If it's there, I've got to see it. Because what happens if what happens if somebody sees it before I do? I can't have that.
I'm sure many people are going to see it before you do. Are you going to take November 12th off and just watch the whole entire Mandalorian if it releases?
No, not at all. But I mean, I will have to watch it as soon as possible, just so I see it before as many people as possible. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I will dedicate all of my free time to watching it.
Right. When is D23? Is it soon, right?
Yeah, it's sometime this month. We should get a trailer, an official trailer that's not filmed with an iPhone.
It's probably, you know what they're going to do? They're probably going to release the same trailer as I saw at Star Wars Celebration.
Maybe.
Which is fine, because it was a good trailer. So
yeah, I mean, I saw it all, too. Just filmed by, Actually, I think the one that I saw it looked pretty good. So, I mean, if they filmed it with an iPhone, they at least held it steady and didn't have fans waving lightsabers in front of it.
Oh man, I should have recorded it and sent it to you. So.
Kenny wouldn't have watched it. He still hasn't watched any of it because it's not official.
Well, I mean, he wants to be a virgin when it comes to Mandalorian, so I don't blame him. I mean, if I hadn't gone to it, I probably wouldn't have watched it myself because I would actually want to watch it in like the best version possible.
I've just got to see it. I've got to know. I don't want to. I got to know what's going on. I'm curious.
Okay, so the last piece of news. Kenny's favorite series, Star Wars Resistance Season 1, comes out August 20th. So
I already own all of the episodes.
Yeah, I do too. So yeah, it's for the crowd that buys the Netflix.
How do you own the episodes?
Because it was like $1.99 or something like that for the whole entire season. Remember?
So you bought it and then you still hadn't watched it?
Once again, I told you. Sometimes I don't. I'll watch a few episodes and kind of just fall off.
Fucking Star Wars. Like, you have to watch it. We do a Star Wars podcast.
Okay, we are talking about a guy who didn't watch the Clone Wars when it aired, or Rebels. So why would I watch Resistance?
Because we do a Star Wars podcast now. Like, at the time,
we do now. I watched every episode of the Clone Wars now, but I mean,
he finally finished that off today.
Oh my god, I can't wait to talk about those episodes. But yeah, no, it's just the way I am. Sometimes I just don't, especially with Star Wars stuff. Sometimes I don't want to go and watch the Clone Wars. I regret that decision, but it happens. So it is. It's part of life. It's part of what it is.
I mean, I'm giving you shit, but I didn't watch a lot of Forces of Destiny clips or what's the other one? Galaxy of Adventures. I'm not really watching those.
Well, I mean, isn't Galaxy Adventures only like it's basically like recreations of scenes from this trilogy, anyways? So.
I mean, what I've seen of it though, I think it's awesome. Like the animation's great, and it's just using the audio from the movies. But I'm not into a cartoon that lasts 2 minutes. Like, give me a New Hope in that animated style, and I'm in.
Right. Yeah, you were saying that's what you were saying. I think the last episode we recorded that you wanted that, which I'd be fine with. I mean, it looks cool. So
yeah, it's like Disney's into taking their animated movies and making them all live action. So can't we take a live action Star Wars movie and make it animated?
How about they just start making animated Star Wars movies in general? Just like do like the Marvel and DC things where they take a story, or they could do like Heir to the Empire and do a whole story based on that or something like that.
But that's Legends. That's not canon.
That's my point. Like they could do like Queen's Gambit, for instance, and make a whole anime movie out of that. I don't know.
Queen's Shadow.
Whatever.
Queen's Gambit was Oliver Queen's ship in Arrow.
I know. Shut up. No, I'm just saying, like, they should do that with the Star Wars movies. Make, like, animated movies that go direct to video or something like that.
That are not necessarily... that could be Legends. They could do Legends stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing What If Marvel TV series, so they could do What If Star Wars TV series or something. I mean, I think it'd be cool. They're not using the potential. They're, just doing movies right now, and then they're doing Mandalorian, but do something like that. Release cool one-offs or something like that. You could have a whole episode where R2-D2 goes to a car wash or something like that. Do an hour-long version of that, and I'll watch it.
Yeah, you probably would. Moron.
Yeah, but
moron.
I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, that's my feeling on it.
That
but
fucking
Disney doesn't
car
agree,
wash
so.
episode.
Worst episode ever.
Hey, still not as bad as the detective one. So
you always talk about this detective episode, and I cannot remember what episode that was.
It's the one where Padme gets she gets what is that word called? She gets framed for something, the murder of a person, and she has to go find the killer. It's like the murder of her
Uncle Anno.
What's his name? Yeah, Uncle Anno, and then that French detective sounding guy comes in and
Inspector Clouseau.
She goes and chases after the killer, and the killer ends up being like a handmaiden or some shit. I don't know. I don't know why I know all this stuff about this episode.
Remember that. I remember Uncle Anno dying, but apparently you hated that episode more than you hated the episode Into the Void or something. The Void, like with the droids and the little general.
Well, whack and stuff like that.
Whack and what was his name? Colonel something.
I mean, don't get me wrong; those are terrible episodes too. But that episode was just like straight up. It just irritated me so much. It's like on par with when Ahsoka lost her lightsaber.
Yeah, that's the other one that you hated. You hated that one.
Oh my god! But whatever. We're gonna talk about Clone Wars in a second. But yeah, that's like I said. That's pretty much on news. There was a lot of news, a lot of stories that
we're kind of. You say there's a lot of news, but we're kind of reaching. There's like the stories that are out there.
I'm just saying there.
The stories that are out there.
We haven't done a podcast episode for 3 weeks. There's a lot of news.
Yeah, but I'm saying
if it were
it's still kind of a stretch though if it's news or not.
Well, I mean, it's still Star Wars news, so it still counts. But I don't know. So, anyways, since Kenny's not here, I don't get to beat him in Star Wars trivia because I know I've beaten him the last couple of weeks, and I know Brian definitely didn't put a quiz or anything together because he's not here. So.
And who? Yeah, exactly. Who am I going to quiz? Just you? So you can.
I mean,
so
you
you
could
can beat
see
yourself.
How much I know. Oh, you never know. So, and then Brian has already talked about the toys he's collected and bought recently. So we'll go ahead and jump into the Clone Wars. But yeah, so this is the last. It's ironic that we're on our 40th episode, and we're doing the last 3 episodes of the current run of Star Wars: The Clone Wars, and we have to wait till I think next year to watch the official finale of Clone Wars period. So, but yeah, so we'll go ahead and start with the first episode. What do we got, Ryan?
So this is Voices, which originally aired on March 1st, 2014.
Yoda, no, this is not the way. Come to Dagobah. The answers you seek are here.
But why?
You must complete what I could not.
His vital signs are dropping too low.
But the test!
I want him out of there now. Master Yoda! Master Yoda, wake up! Come back to us!
Speak of this to no one. Trust no one. Come to Dagobah alone.
Yoda is deeply unsettled when he hears a voice from beyond the grave, the voice of Qui-Gon Jinn. Knowing that it is impossible for a Jedi to retain his identity after death, the Jedi Council begins to worry that Yoda may be corrupted by the influence of the dark side. Determined to find answers, Yoda escapes the Jedi Temple to follow the disembodied voice.
Okay, so this is a very, very interesting arc that I feel, and I don't know how much you agree with me, might be one of the most important arcs in the Star Wars: The Clone Wars series in general, of contrast of talking about Star Wars as a whole, because we're getting a lot of interesting information about what the Force is, how Yoda and Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan and Anakin can pass themselves on into the other side of the Force, which is the kind of the afterlife for them, and how to cheat death, and not cheat death. There's that comes later, but how do you feel about that, Brian? Do you agree with me on it?
Do I agree that it's one of the most important arcs? Yeah, probably not. Do I like it? Yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
You don't because it
I
everything that Yoda talks about is in these 3 episodes, especially in Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi.
I think it's important to the canon. I don't know that I'm going to sound like Nick Lapola here and say that I don't know that it needed 3 episodes to tell this tale.
I don't know. I mean, you guys, my problem is not 3 episodes; it's 4 episodes. When they do a 4-episode arc of something that didn't need 4 episodes, that's my problem.
I prefer the first episode of this arc and the 3rd episode, and I could have done without the second.
Really? Because I think the second one really delves into who and what Yoda is and how these things affect him and what he really needs to do to move on after everything's said and done. I mean, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
No, I mean, no, your opinion's fine. And you're a Yoda fan, so I've been saying all along that you're gonna love this arc, and
you're right,
and you did.
I'm not gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. It wasn't because of Yoda. It was the things that I was talking about. Because, like I said,
But if that was Master Flo, do you think you would have enjoyed it just as much as if it was Yoda?
It depends. It depends on how they use Master Flo.
Speaking of Master Flo, and to get off topic like we always do, last episode you talked about Keldor.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to look that up. And I looked it up, and I found out that Master Flo was a Keldor. It's a species.
Oh, okay. I did not know that. Of trivia so there. I learned something new.
So anyway, back to Yoda arc.
Okay, so Voices starts out the 3-episode arc. Yoda is having visions, or he is hearing voices of Qui-Gon Jinn, who's played by, of course, Liam Neeson. And he can't figure out what's going on, what these voices are trying to tell him. And the Jedi Order think it's a sickness, maybe, because he goes into a Bacta tank, and he learns Qui-Gon Jinn is on Dagobah, basically, right? Am I reading that right?
Well, he tells him to go to Dagobah.
Yeah. So Yoda goes to Dagobah. He
goes into the cave.
Yeah, he goes into the cave, and I just think it was a very intriguing episode, because this is kind of my feeling is that Yoda, this is the reason Yoda went to Dagobah, that there was something that he found was very powerful with the Force,
but
that he could talk to people.
Well, I think it was more so that the dark side is strong on Dagobah, and it masked his presence.
Well, that's true too, but
that was what I had always heard and believed.
But it was interesting to see Yoda go to a place that we recognize him living on, and we get kind of an understanding of why he's there, because it's never really explained why he's there in the original trilogy, right? It's never really given any context.
Not in the movies. I'm not sure if it gets mentioned in the novels or not. It's been 20 years since I read them. But yeah, I mean, like what I've always heard and believed, like I said, is that because it's like a strong nexus for the dark side, then him being there kind of hid his presence. Mm-hmm. Kind of counterbalanced each other.
Yeah, and I thought it was kind of interesting that Yoda gets visions of Order 66, which the only thing that bothered me about this is if he's getting these visions and stuff like that, and he's seeing all the people that are dying, why is he never says anything to the other people? Is it just because he's trying to protect them, or like it just feels like sometimes like these Jedi are so afraid to say anything.
But when he gets out of the cave, he's talking to Qui-Gon, and he says something about these are visions. Will they come to pass or something? And he says, "Is there any hope that this won't come to pass?" And Qui-Gon says, "There's always hope." So you know, I guess he just continued what he was doing and tried to change that. Like, and you could see at the one point too. I think it might have been Shakti gets like a blue lightsaber through her.
Yeah, it happens in episode 3, right?
It was an outtake in episode 3.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I just liked that it was a blue lightsaber because that's Anakin's lightsaber.
Right. I'm just surprised we didn't see like the little kids like,
oh, Master Anakin, Master Skywalker.
Yeah. But like I said,
speaking of news, did you see there was an article recently that kid and Hayden Christensen got together recently?
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
I just thought of that now.
It's kind of funny, but the Shakti thing is in the trivia. This establishes that she is killed during episode 3. I like that R2-D2 was with Yoda the whole time, that he gets to go to Dagobah. It's kind of a fun little nod to R2-D2 visits, Dagobah again to visit Yoda.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Here's the other question I have. Okay, so Yoda and R2-D2 visit Dagobah, but R2-D2 doesn't remember visiting Dagobah with Yoda at all. Did he have his mind wiped? Is that what the problem is?
No, only 3PO did.
So why is Yoda just like old and decrepit or something like that? Is that why he doesn't remember? Because he doesn't act like he remembers R2-D2.
Why doesn't Darth Vader remember C-3PO? He fucking built him.
Yeah, that is actually true. Maybe he thought it was like a different 3PO, or I don't know. Maybe he just got burned up so bad that he forgot. But
I don't know.
I'm throwing weird ideas.
This is the stuff that people throw out there all the time. But I mean, sometimes I guess you just have to, I don't know, suspend your disbelief.
A couple other trivia. The character Rig Nima's design was based on an early pre-Samuel Jackson design for Mace Windu. That's pretty much it. The rest is just talking about like the visions of the Order 66 stuff. But other than that, I really liked it. I'm giving it an A. Like I said, it's a great start to what was originally thought as the series finale. So that's my take. What do you think, Brian?
I would also give this episode an A. I like the trip back to Dagobah. I like the visions inside the cave. That was all good stuff. And then I think in the next episode it'll just kind of take a downward turn for me. There's these like scream mask people.
So they were cool. They're like Kabuki masks. And then there was like a gray Yoda, a gray demon Yoda, which was nice.
Smeagol Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. So. Was there anything else you want to talk about in voices at all?
No. Like I said, I give it an A. I like this episode. And I guess now we're moving on to Destiny. Also, a March 2014 air, obviously because it all dropped on Netflix. So it's all going to be the same, pretty much.
You should not have brought him before us.
Oh, nonsense. He is full of the Force. Can you not feel it? Why is he here? Why are you here?
Told I was to learn from you. That showed me you could. how to manifest my life after death.
It's impossible. He will fail the great gift. He will disappoint us. He will disappoint himself. Oh, no. No, I do not see that.
Letting the Force guide him, Yoda voyages into the heart of the galaxy to an ancient world that is one of the well springs of the Force and the source of midichlorians. Yoda undergoes difficult trials administered by the 5 priestesses, mysterious Force wielders who hold the secret to immortality.
You really didn't like this episode, huh?
It was okay. It's certainly not a top 20.
I mean, I'm going to give it an A again, but I like the idea that Yoda, as powerful as he is, has to still find help through, mysticism. And I think I sent this to you, but this is very... these episodes are like very philosophical in what they're trying to tell you about midichlorians and, the power of living on past, normal spiritual grounds of human life. And I thought what they were talking about with how to not cheat death. I keep saying cheat death, but I thought it was just an interesting idea of having Yoda kind of go to this planet,
learn how to become one with the Force.
Yeah, and like I said, we learn a little bit more about midichlorians and how after you die, the living force is transferred into a cosmic force. Which like I said, is very new age philosophical logic thinking, and how you expand your mind, how you use it to kind of cleanse your soul, that type of thing. Which I don't necessarily agree with, but I'm just saying you can tell that George Lucas was very into a new age line of thinking with these types of stories. I thought it was kind of cool, but. Whether you agree or not is different, but like I said, Yoda faces an evil Smeagol version of himself, which was kind of awesome. You got to see Yoda use his Force powers and stuff like that. And I thought the stuff with like Yoda and the vision of like the dead Padawans, and we get Ahsoka Tano back for a really cool segment, and then we see all the characters, including Dooku and whatnot. So I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. It brings back Jamie Priestley, doing all the little kabuki characters or whatever that were part of the Living Force. So what do you think, Brian? Anything add?
No, nothing to really add on this one. I would give this episode probably a B-. Like, this episode was keeping it was not keeping my attention the way the previous episode did. But it was okay. Yeah, I didn't hate it. It was kind of Last Jedi-ish.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, delving into like the different side, because the next episode deals with like the Sith side, and this deals with like almost like the Jedi light side, which I thought was kind of interesting. I think it was interesting that R2-D2 kind of had to hang back, which was really unique. I thought like the landscapes and the foliage and stuff like that was really cool.
Well,
but
I was going to say, I think that could be part of the reason, though, that why I liked the first episode and the third episode so much was just the locations. Like, I liked the fact that they went to Dagobah in the first one. I liked the fact that they went to the Sith planet in the third one. Moraband, like formerly known as Korriban.
Yeah, apparently there's like some kerfuffle about that.
Apparently George liked the name Moraband better, so they changed it.
Yeah. But like I said, as a middle episode, I thought it did its purpose. It gave us a little bit of an idea of what midichlorians kind of, how they affect everything. There's some really cool imagery about, how the midichlorians, when you die, how kind of like life and atoms kind of like delve up into the, because, in essence, we're all cosmic dust or whatever. I know a lot of people think otherwise, but
dust in the wind.
I thought it was, yeah, thank you. Pretty much. I liked it, so. But that's Destiny. That's the second episode of the arc. So, what we got next?
Next up is Sacrifice.
Why do you come to my tomb, Jedi?
To learn.
Do you know who I am?
Yes. Darth Vader. The ancient Sith Lord, you are.
And know why I am not forgotten?
Created the rule of two. You did.
The Sith killed each other, victims of their own greed. But from the ashes of destruction, I was the last survivor.
supposed to pass my knowledge on to only one.
After many grueling trials, Yoda next travels to the ancient Sith homeworld of Moraband.
Just don't call it Korriban. I prefer Moraband.
Where he must face an ancient evil determined to rule the galaxy.
So, okay. I didn't realize this till I looked it up, but Mark Hamill voices Darth Bane in this episode.
Yes, that is correct.
Which I thought was really awesome. This is an episode that's really interesting because this is like testing Yoda's ability to not be corrupted by the dark side of the Force. This really pushes him to the edge when he kind of has a moment where he gets transported to with Anakin. They're going after Dooku and Palpatine, and it's kind of like a Palpatine and Dooku like trying to push him into the dark side of the Force. And I thought it was a really fascinating episode, a really cool episode. It brought in one of my favorite legacy characters now, or whatever you want to call him, with Darth Bane.
Except now he's canon, so he's not even a...
Yeah, I hate that they got rid of those. Those are the only books I wish they hadn't taken out of canon.
Because they're the only books you actually ever read?
No, I've read a lot of Star Wars books. I'm just saying those books in general are fantastic books.
Oh, I agree. And I read them again recently, like in the last year or so.
Yeah.
Read, a.k.a. listened to them.
But, you know, this is like the hardest trials for Yoda. I mean, like I said, he's being tempted by something he has always pretty much been able to hold back throughout most of his life. And now he has to take on, you know, his basically biggest fears of losing people and, you know, people dying, because he has to save either himself or Anakin, or take down Palpatine, and of course, like the episode says, he sacrifices himself. So,
and there was a line in there too that Palpatine says about something about you can save him or you can stop everything I'm gonna do or something like that. Basically, like if you let him die, you could pretty much prevent everything he's gonna do, kind of deal. I thought that was a good line.
Right. I like the fact that we see this is what makes the Dooku character kind of a tragic figure in a way, is when you see the segment that's in Revenge of the Sith of Anakin cutting off the head of Dooku, which is actually played out in this episode. I keep forgetting that Dooku was Yoda's Padawan and that he was trained by Yoda. So when Anakin kills Dooku and Yoda sees this, it almost feels like a tragic character, a character that was deceived by everything that he saw. And it just makes Dooku kind of just an interesting character in a lot of ways, of somebody who thought he was doing what he thought was the right thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. Darth Sidious played him, you know?
And
that's that. Like,
it just makes.
I keep telling you about Master and Apprentice, and then they also did that, like basically the radio drama kind of deal of the Dooku thing, and both of those stories kind of tied together a little bit, and like I was a big fan of both of them. So yeah. Anyway,
it just makes it so chilling in the fact that Anakin, who Yoda and Windu and all these Jedi people brought into the Jedi Order because of what Obi-Wan was willing to do, and the person, because Yoda, you can tell he cares about Dooku, and it really bothers him about what he did, and to see him murdered by the one person that they didn't really think should have. I mean, if you think about it, you can tell that they didn't really want Anakin in the Jedi Order because of his age, and he's going to be the one that takes down everything that they believe in. It just makes it like a really like a tragedy of a story and a very dark and disturbing thing that Dooku is and who he is and what happens to him and how everything is played out. And it just, that moment when you see that and you see Yoda see it and all that stuff is just, it kind of hits home on how fucked up this whole situation really is. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know how much more I can add to that, but
yeah. But yeah, like I said, we see the Sith homeworld, or Moraband or Moraband or whatever you're gonna say, or whatever you call it. We see Darth Bane.
I prefer Moraband. Don't call it Korriban.
Exactly.
Morband sounds better.
That's funny. So we see that. We see kind of the other side of, what the Sith homeworld is like and how tempting everything is. And we see Sifo Dyas, and, it's really Darth Sidious and Dooku. And I don't know. I mean, do you have anything else to add on
No,
it?
I mean, I like, we've seen Korriban in some of the old video games, and we've seen it in the Darth Bane trilogy, and now it's finally canon, although it's now called Morban. But I mean, if you look that up on Wikipedia, it says Morban, known in ancient times as Korriban. So
they just retconned it some way.
Don't retcon me, bro. Kenny's
right.
not here to say it, so I got to say it. But anyway, yeah.
There you go.
So they kind of retconned it. But I was like, I liked seeing that. I liked seeing Darth Bane, although it doesn't really look like the Darth Bane I picture.
No, like Darth Bane you picture is like it's like a much more weird,
like bald head and on the book.
I like it. Well, there's like that picture I think in the Rule of Two book where you see his face and it's like all like old and kind of messed up. But
yeah,
I mean, like I said, I know you say that like you think this whole entire arc is okay, but you like it. You gave A for. I'm guessing you're giving this one an A as well.
Probably an A- on this one. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was good. I enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
It had the stuff that I like, the ancient Sith stuff. So good stuff.
Right.
I also like the part at the end where Yoda's like grabbing onto the hood and he's trying to pull it back and then it's just empty. Like he's trying to see who's in there and it's just empty.
Oh, and you mean Darth Sidious?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, he's like he's like trying to see who Darth Sidious is, and he's pulling back the hood, and then it's just Sidious is gone. Like it's just an empty robe.
Right. That's like one of those dreams you have where you're trying to see an object, but you just never can see it, or you're trying to get somewhere and you can just never get there. It's like that fear that you have, where just things you want to have happen don't happen, and. Yeah, that's a really interesting thing to have happen. But
or it's like one of those. You ever have one of those dreams where like it does happen and you kind of have everything you want, but then you like in your dream and you're like, wait, this isn't real. I'm just dreaming right now. I'm asleep. Like you like realize it. Like, oh man, this sucks. I got it. And
yeah, I've had dreams like that, and I wake up and I'm like, oh man, this is depressing.
Like before you even wake up, sometimes like you notice like, oh shit, this is just a dream.
I don't think I've gone that far, but I have had dreams where I wake up and I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm in a place that I'm not happy with. But yeah, it's definitely happened to me.
You're so depressing.
I try. But before we actually finish with this arc, like I said, I just feel, especially with this season, we got a lot of answers, and there's a lot of questions that have been plaguing Star Wars. And a lot of the answers happen to appear, like what is Order 66? What is it like to move into the spiritual realm of the Force? And stuff like that. And it was nice to see these arcs kind of give explanations. And you can tell, like I said, George Lucas had ideas in his head to talk about these things. And this was the perfect way of doing it. And I just like the fact that it was able to do that. Some of the arcs were better than others, but... like I said, this arc just made me feel it gave a lot of stuff that I never thought about, that improved upon the things that they were talking about, and gave us some cool ideas, and gave us Dagobah again, which we haven't seen because we got that music from Empire in the first episode. The music that is really cool. So
I mean, now you've seen the entire Clone Wars. You've seen all of the episodes.
Yeah, we're currently up to date.
What's your thoughts now?
God, how long have we been doing this? We've been doing this for like almost a year.
You said it was episode
year and a
40?
half.
It's 40 episodes. It's like
I'm talking about
weeks.
like since we started talking about Clone. Yeah, a little bit more, but we started talking about this in like episode 4 of this whole podcast, and the one thing I regret, and you know exactly where I'm going with, is not watching this from the beginning. It's like one of those things that, like The Office, where maybe it's the fact that we're doing this and we're watching it as friends and talking about it, but this series is like a revelation for me. This really put Star Wars on a different sphere. You could really tell that Dave Filoni and George Lucas and the people that he was working with, the animators, really, really love what they were doing. We're given the all clear to do whatever the hell they wanted, in essence, and gave us some great, great stories. I mean,
no, I just looked at the I just looked at the clock and it was 11:38, so I just thought 1138. But
yeah, that's true. That's funny, actually. A good pull on that. But yeah, no, I will hold the fact that this is one of my favorite series of any TV series of all time. It's a series that's very, very special. There are some hits and misses, but every TV series you ever watch, Lost or Breaking Bad, they have their bad episodes. And yeah, it's been really fun talking about it. I can't wait to see what season 7 holds, season 7. But I don't know. I feel this is a series that really defines what true good Star Wars can be and how it can be a really, I mean, think about this. I mean, the movies are amazing, but this is the problem with Star Wars. People won't watch these things and they're missing so much good content. And this is, I'm sorry, this is the best thing out of the prequels. You know, this is, to me, what Star Wars should and will always be, is defining moments and people, good characters and good worlds and interesting arcs. And
this is what has me excited for the Mandalorian, though. Like, just, I think with more time to tell a story, you can just tell such a better story. And what I'll say about the Clone Wars, I mean, for me, like, you know, I watched it from the beginning. Like, when it first came on, I went to the theater and I saw the movie, and then I was hooked for like probably the first 2 seasons, and then I think I like, for whatever reason, I stopped watching for a couple years, and then it wasn't until it got onto Netflix that I like binged watched what I hadn't seen. So there was the last, I get probably seasons 4 and 5. I didn't watch them when they were on. I saw them on Netflix. But again, I mean, I don't even know why I stopped. It wasn't because I didn't like it or whatever. I guess it was just, I don't know, I didn't have time or found something else or whatever. But yeah, I finished it, and then I kind of watched them over and over and over once they were on Netflix. And like you said, there were some good episodes and there were some bad episodes. But what I will say is this series, when it had some great episodes, and I mean like fantastic, like beyond belief great episodes, but it also had some stinkers. Like, it had some that were like rock bottom, just terrible, droid car wash.
Yeah.
like it had incredible highs and just rock bottom lows. Like,
right.
And then a lot of in between. Just like, that was good. But like, so there were some episodes that were just great and some that were just abysmal. And I think you know, looking ahead to Rebels, I don't really remember a whole lot of episodes that, I mean, there were some really good ones, but I don't remember there being ones that I was like, man, this is a real stinker. Like, there were some that, maybe it's not that good, but I don't know that there were some as bad as like Droid Car Wash or Into the Void, which I think when we reviewed Into the Void, I don't think I rated it that bad, but you guys hated it.
Yeah, it was just because it was such a sloppy put together episode, but
it was just like, it was like those like Bugs Bunny cartoons when it's just like the artist drawing them or whatever, like, and it's just they're on a white background or whatever, and there's like a pencil drawing them and stuff. It's kind of what that episode was. There was like no background.
But yeah, like I said, since Kenny's not here, so I want to hold off on it. But I think what I want to do, and I think you agree, I think we all agreed, is do kind of like a top 10 favorite episodes of the Clone Wars. So maybe for the next episode we'll talk about that. But like I said, I know Kenny's done with Clone Wars, but it's been really fun watching them. It's been fun living through a franchise and a series that I never thought I would like as much as I did. And like I said, there was one episode where like completely floored me that I was not expecting that even ever happened in an animated series that not even The Simpsons have ever done. The Simpsons have had great episodes, But there's that one episode in the Clone Wars that just completely like devastated me. So, but yeah, that's at least until season 7 comes out, that's the official end of the Clone Wars. I can't believe we finally finished it. It seems like forever
which
ago.
means we're up to reviewing an actual live action movie.
You realize it's been a year and a half since we reviewed it. I mean, we've seen the live action movies since then, but I mean, we're talking about like February of 2018 since the last time we reviewed a live action version of of Star Wars.
We're ready to hit Revenge of the Sith now. One of my favorites.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great movie for being a prequel. So, but yeah, we'll do an in-depth discussion of Revenge of the Sith coming a couple weeks. So. But I think that'll do it. This is going to be an interesting episode to edit because there's going to be a lot of me going, sure, what?
And me like, yeah, I think you already said it. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I've got nothing to add.
But anyways, so that'll do it. Brian, thank you once again, as always, for joining me in this venture of Star Wars and Clone Wars and all that good stuff. Where can they reach you if they want to touch you or find you? Or
You can find me on the Twitter at realtrenchrun_Brian on the Twitter.
But yeah, you can reach Kenny at American Ricky. Find him all his content there, all his whatever he tweets and whatnot.
It's
also,
mostly St. Louis Cardinals nonsense. Exactly.
Damn you, Kenny. Also hit us up on trenchmudpod@gmail.com if you have any questions. Definitely, our old bag is still dusty and we haven't gotten one question yet in like 2 years. So
the only email we ever get is Hulu for Kenny.
Exactly. You can reach me at BigShadow1138 where I post all my content from Movie Emporium and Trench Run and all that good stuff. But like I said, rate us 5 stars. Hit us up on the comments and all that good stuff. So, but otherwise, we will see you guys on episode 41 in a couple weeks. Peace out.
Good day.
This is $200 a signature, so why don't you just go out and get a job?
I love that one. I love that one. I love that one. I love that one.